Welcome, welcome! It's my dog with the TexasSpaceNavy bringing you another Star Citizen video. Okay, I've done a lot of videos here lately, or attempted to, on many different subjects. Problem is the quality of the videos have not come out up to standard. So, let me talk a little bit about my plans for upcoming videos, and then we'll get into this letter from the chairman that just came out today. Plans for upcoming videos. I will be doing some Star Citizen videos, without a doubt, for sure. But I will also be doing some videos from some other games and genres and stuff. So hopefully some of you will like that. I know not everybody likes that stuff. That's okay. You don't have to watch those videos, but please don't leave the channel permanently, because we will definitely be going back to some of the Star Citizen roots that this channel started from and will continue to do. 318 is in wave 1 right now of the PTU, which means only like concierge subscribers have access to it in Evocati. I am one of those, and I will be planning on bringing you some of that footage. But honestly, I haven't felt a huge desire to play here as of late with the holiday season and stuff. I've been working a tremendous amount, at least until yesterday when I was let go from my job. So now I'm jobless, so I should be having plenty of time to do these videos, and I will be trying to execute on that on a daily basis. So we'll just have to see how that turns out. Some of the plans for future videos. I want to do an FPS series where it's all about the FPS games. We'll go through some of the Battlefield games like Battlefield 1, Battlefield 4. We'll try out Squad. You know, we may break into some other things. Maybe I'll try out Marauders. There's a few other games out there. Well, you know, third-person shooter like Fortnite, which I know many of you hate, but Fortnite can be a fun distraction. You know, if I have 30 minutes or whatever to blow, I can go into a game of Fortnite and have a little bit of fun. I may bring back games like World of Tanks or World of Warships, so I do not have those on my computer at the moment. I got so fed up with the progress or the development on those games that I took them off. I'll try turn-based strategy games or role-playing games like Master of Orion, or maybe I'll even download some 5th edition D&D type games as well. There's a few of them out there. Let me know in the comments down below which ones you might want to see first. A game like Master of Orion or even the D&D type game would have to be a multi video series to cover a whole progress of the game. So count on those being like a longer series where I will do individual videos, and then I will do a master cut of one entire gameplay session all the way through, something along those lines. So let's get into what this video is all about. It's all about the letter from the chairman released today. It says 12:57 a.m. I don't know where it was at 12:57 a.m. I mean, he would have. I guess maybe he wrote that several hours ago. I don't know. But let's get into it. This is from Chris Roberts, the chairman. Letter from the chairman. I'll go ahead and read it to you. I may skip through some parts because not all of it's super important, but you know, I want you guys to get the gist of it. So, hello everyone. As we close out 2022 and head into 2023, I wanted to take time to thank everyone for being such an amazing, enthusiastic, and supportive community. The not-so-secret sauce of Cloud Imperium's ability to have the time and resources to build a universe of detail, scale, and scope of Star Citizen is the community's full-throated embrace of the ultimate goal of fully connected and simulated science fiction universe that allows players to engage in first-person gameplay and adventures almost without boundaries. Full-throated, huh? I guess we're swallowing a hook, line, and sinker. There is no other way Star Citizen could be built except for the community-driven funding model, and that investment, both in time and money, is just too expensive for a normal game publisher, especially one that's beholden to quarterly earnings and shareholders. So a great example of our ability to take a long-term view and invest in research and development that most projects don't have the time or ambition for is the persistent entity streaming which creates true lasting persistence for the Star Citizen universe. If you leave some equipment in a remote cave, shoot down a bounty over Daymar, manage to fend off some pirates around Yela, the results of your actions will persist. Items, debris, ships, even dead bodies will all stay where they were left and still be there even if you log off and return a week later, assuming other players haven't taken or cleaned up the results of your adventures. Excuse me, I'm still getting over the flu from early this month. So to do this for the universe as big and detailed as Star Citizen, to have this apply to everything, not just player-owned items, for an MMO with millions of players is a major technical accomplishment. And he's not aware of any other large-scale MMO that has ever tried to deliver on this level of persistence. PES is the headline feature of Star Citizen 3.18. And while we didn't manage to release to live before the end of 2022, it is currently in Wave 1 of the PTU. This is a test bed where they will harden the patches with the community's help before they deem the patch stable enough for a live release. And there are already a lot of community videos and posts about the emergent gameplay that is enabled by PES, especially when combined with some of the other 3.18 features such as salvage and the soft death, where ships don't blow up into pieces but become disabled and allow other players allow players to survive a once fatal event and attackers to board and potentially loot the disabled ships. PES is an example of how all your support has enabled Star Citizen to expand its boundaries and possibilities. But the community's contribution goes much further than funding Star Citizen development, as contributing ideas, giving feedback, and testing the various updates we release are all part of the symbiotic relationship between Cloud Imperium and the Star Citizen community. There are plenty of features and content that I and the development team dream up, but there are equally many things that come from you, the community. The development of Star Citizen is a fusion of the development team and the community playing it. Ideas are passed back and forth, made better, released, tested, and iterated on. Some of the recent racetracks that debuted in 3.17.2 and now 3.18 are a result of the community finding interesting ideas or areas to race around, which in turn inspired developers to flesh them out and start to add time trial functionality to the ship HUDs. This is just one example. There are too many others to list in detail, as the same dynamic happens with everything in Star Citizen. Your actions in the verse inspire Star Citizen team to improve and push the boundaries even further. And what is even more exciting is that the community grows larger every year. More and more people discover Star Citizen through their friends, online videos, or people streaming their gameplay are then intrigued and jump into the verse. In my letter from the chairman in May of this year, I mentioned just how strongly we started 2022 in terms of new players joining the verse. This trend has continued through the rest of the year, fueled by Invictus launch week, and then continued with the release of Alpha 3.17.2, which really should have been numbered as a full patch due to the number of features, content and optimizations that we put in it, knowing that Alpha 3.18 was going to take extra time due to the complexity of PES. The biggest headline of 3.17.2 was the increase in server capacity from 50 players to over 100 players, which was enabled by ongoing multi-threading and optimization work the engine and gameplay teams had been working on in the background. This enabled more active and busier PU for players and allowed for some truly spectacular player-driven events like 100-person plus fleet battleships or battles or ship meets. In November, we released Alpha 3.17.4 just in time for 2952 edition of IAE, which debuted 2 new flyable ships in the Drake Cutter and the Corsair, as well as the RSI Galaxy, which was a large modular multi-role ship that has been added to the ship production pipeline, and a playable nifty off-road vehicle, the Great Cat Sports Terrain Vehicle, or STV. We also added servers in Hong Kong for our exploding player base in the Asia Pacific. All of this combined with the return to Jumptown and our other dynamic events like Xenothreat and Ninetales Lockdown kept the verse more engaged and active than any year previously. So another record-breaking year of growth. While most of the passionate players test 318 in the PTU, our developers take a well-deserved break. I wanted to share with you some truly momentous stats from this year that illustrate Star Citizen had the best year and crossed some historic milestones that demonstrate this game we all love is finally breaking into a larger gaming consciousness with success that is greater and faster than we anticipated. This year, over 1 million unique players logged into Star Citizen and played our game, and they did so for more than 46 million hours. Our daily active users this year, or unique players logging in each day, has grown 50% over last year and is double what it was at the end of 2019. This year, we are averaging over 240,000 monthly active users, which is 33% higher than our average monthly active users from last year, with highs over 400,000 during May and this year's Invictus launch week. Those of you who are following the funding tracker doubtless know that we had already eclipsed all last year's revenues by mid-November, and we'll have our first 100 million plus year ever, and by a fair margin. You can also read a more in-depth report of the 2021 financials, well, here, but we won't go into that in this video. As great as 2021 was, which was remarkable for growing beyond the COVID-bolstered revenues of 2020, we managed to grow 30% beyond 2021. Where does all the revenue go? Well, right back in development, as we've hired more than ever before and continue to build out our Squadron 42 and Persistent Universe teams. It's no secret that our two games and our technology are among the most complex and complicated endeavors in the gaming and even tech industry. We're doing things with our engine that are truly groundbreaking, and it takes talent and time to achieve the ambitious goals we've set for ourselves. And so even as we grow, we invest all the growth back into our teams through hiring and retaining our critical talent. A huge portion of our growing revenue has come exclusively from new players that only joined Star Citizen this year. In fact, this year, we witnessed truly explosive growth. Over 800,000 new accounts were created this year to follow or play our project. Our new players this year have almost doubled this year compared to last year, with over 500,000 new players joining us during free flies, dynamic events, and throughout 2022. And of those new players this year, over 70% of them stayed around as paying players who purchased starter packs to get access to the Star Citizen Alpha and keep their adventures going in the verse. So, Bar Citizen World Tour and CitizenCon, throughout 2022, members of our team had the opportunity to attend various Bar Citizens around the globe. We are grateful for your chance to connect with all of you at these events, especially those who are farther from our offices. The past few years during the pandemic have reminded us of the importance and significance of in-person events, and there's nothing quite like the energy and excitement of Bar Citizen. Seeing and experiencing your passion and support in person energizes us for the work ahead. We have always been inspired by the creativity and camaraderie at these events, and we believe they will continue to be the highlight of our community for years to come. For these reasons and many more, I'm happy to share that we plan to continue this initiative in 2023. Our community team is always interested in learning about upcoming events in your area, so be sure to share your events on Spectrum. And in case you missed it, Sandy Roberts also recently announced that in-person CitizenCon will be returning in 2023 in Los Angeles. We're looking forward to seeing all of you there for a day of celebrating Star Citizen Universe with fellow community members. We'll share more information as soon as we have it, so stay tuned for more details on the event. New places to call home. So, in his last letter, we shared some early imagery of our new Manchester and Frankfurt offices that were previously under construction. I'm happy to report we have now moved into both offices, Frankfurt at the end of August and Manchester in mid-October. Having our staff together in the offices makes it a huge difference to our teamwork. We've struggled at times to hit our goals for 2022, and while we will always achieve incredible things at Cloud Imperium Games, I have personally seen a significant change in pace towards the end of the year, resulting from most of us being in the office, which we were finally able to achieve once our 2 new offices in Frankfurt and Manchester were ready to be occupied. The huge new offices in downtown Manchester were especially important as we'd outgrown the capacity of the old Winslow office during the pandemic, and so could not properly return to office until they had the extra space. Now that our teams have moved back in, we're especially eager to give you all a tour of the new facilities. We plan to do just that in the coming months as we wrap up final touches on the facilities. You can expect a video tour alongside the return of periodic studio tours for those looking to visit us in person, of course, with limited capacity available. We're also planning on opening our doors for a couple of fun in-house events for our concierge and subscribers. Stay tuned for more information on that in the new year. Star Citizen Alpha 3.18. So last week we opened the gates and welcomed Wave 1 testers to check out the latest content and technologies in Star Citizen Alpha 3.18. This upcoming patch release marks a giant technical leap forward on Star Citizen's journey to deliver uncompromising and near limitless universe that we've all been dreaming of. Far from our typical quarterly patch, this release introduces fundamental changes to our entire backend, bringing in all new set of backend services, granting universal persistence, and even the mass migration of the entire game state into the cloud, which is a tremendous undertaking and an accomplishment for our teams. Since hitting Wave 1, tens of thousands of you have dived in to the experience, the long-awaited salvage profession, an entirely new economic and non-combat career path for pilots in the verse. The ability to salvage will allow pilots to retrieve valuable materials from target ships and sell them for profit. The new salvage profession is supported through the addition of new technology and tools, including a complete cargo refactor, giving cargo a physical representation in-game. Alpha 3.18 also includes the launch of the Drake Interplanetary Vulture, a new entry-level, flyable salvage ship in the Drake lineup of vessels, perfect for pilots beginning their career in salvage, alongside updated functionality so the Reclaimer pilots can finally utilize their behemoth of a ship. While salvage, new racetracks, new POIs, and some of the other visual stimulating mechanics will take the spotlight, the largest change to our universe comes from the powerful work under the hood, the persistent entity streaming. With this new tech, all physical objects moved or placed by players will be dynamically tracked on the server they were moved on and remain in their new locations. PS represents the largest technical update in the game's history and is a critical addition to laying the foundation for future technology and full in-game persistence that will unlock a new level of immersion in the verse. As we move towards making 3.18 stable enough to release to the live service, I'd like to give special shout out to everyone who has been testing 3.18 so far on the PTU, especially those from our dedicated Evocati group, who put many hard hours in when the patch was in its roughest and most frustrating state. Thanks to your efforts, we've been able to iterate in real time and implement improvements and fixes quicker than ever. So looking forward, the road to Alpha 4.0. This coming year, is going to be huge for Star Citizen, possibly its biggest one to date. Be prepared for sadness, guys. The first order of business is to continue to stabilize 3.18 so we can release it to live servers in January, once the team is back from their well-earned holiday break. Then we will continue to harden PES, improving aspects and adding some additional quality of life features, including the ability to choose which PES shard you would like to join. The current game server, or PES shard matchmaking, tries to match you to the latest PES shard you were in when you log back in or recover from a crash. But if that shard is full, it places you in a different one. But in the short term, before server meshing makes this not so necessary, we also want to give players the choice to wait in a queue for the preferred shard if it is full. The next step will be to separate the replication layer, or the in-memory cache that remembers all dynamic object state, from the game server and have scalable replication layer workers that communicate the state changes between the various game clients, servers, and the replication layer. This is very important for server meshing, as universe state needs to be fully decoupled from server state. It will also make Star Citizen much more crash resilient on the client side, as a server crash will no longer take down the replication layer as well, meaning that clients can stay connected while the new server takes over where the last one left off. It will also have the added benefit of having the view every client has of the universe around it be a little more fluid with less lag, as the client's update and refresh of object state will no longer be tied to the tick rate of the game server. This means players will see state changes from other remote clients and game servers as they happen at the rates the various clients and servers push to them. Once this happens, we'll be able to have multiple game servers communicate with the replication layer, much like multiple game clients communicate right now with the replication layer, allowing Star Citizen to have multiple servers simulating the universe state, which we call server meshing. We will start with static server meshing, where different servers are assigned to simulate different entity zones in the star system. Entity zones, sometimes referred to as local grids, are separate simulation areas. Like the inside of a spaceship is a different zone to the space around the spaceship where it flies. A planet is a different zone than the star system zone where all the planets and moons exist in. And a landing zone can also be a different zone, nestled inside a planet zone, nestled inside a star system zone. You get the idea. At first, the servers will be bound to fixed zones, but we will quickly move to dynamic server meshing version 1, where we assign servers dynamically to entity zones based on gameplay and simulation load. This will be much more efficient use of the servers in the cloud, as you only need servers where the players are, whereas in static server meshing, you have to have servers assigned to zones, even if there are no players there. Dynamic server meshing version 2 will take this dynamic assignment of servers one step further by subdividing entity zones into simulation islands. This is organizing the dynamic objects in one zone or local grid into different groups based on which objects can interact, collide with each other, etc., allowing these islands to be distributed between servers to, again, help balance simulation load. At this point, we should be able to handle tens of thousands of players all playing in the same PES universe shard, bringing Star Citizen much closer to the ultimate goal of a huge living universe densely populated with players and AI. Once we achieve static server meshing, we can open the universe of Star Citizen to other star systems, starting with Pyro. By having authority pass from one server to another, you'll be able to transition seamlessly without the need to log out of the game or anything between star systems. We are aiming, and this is where the disappointment comes, guys, we are aiming to put static server meshing and Pyro into the hands of players in the fourth quarter of 2023. I'll let that sink in. Fourth quarter of 2023. We have a whole nother year of the Stanton system, guys. Sadly. I don't know what's going to happen between now and then, but it's a little disappointing. Let me know your thoughts down below. The large caveat with this goal is the complicated engineering work that involves a completely new paradigm and requires a host of new back-end services, and technology is hard to estimate and schedule accurately, as the issues and problems that can come up along the way are hard to foresee, as no one has implemented this system before, and plans rarely survive contact with the users, especially at this scale. This has been true for PES, as it is no secret that they were hoping to get it out by the end of 2022, as opposed to just being in the PTU. So delays in finalizing 3.18 and PES have impacted the team's ability to start on the next stage, and we still have the unknowns of how PES performs after months of heavy load and people seeing exactly how much space junk they can leave around. So that's another factor to worry about. Beyond this, there are a host of other exciting features and content we have planned for 2023. Pyro, with its assorted planets, moons, settlements, space stations, and assorted factions, and AI population being the headline. But we also will be rolling out the new item resource system in ships, which replaces the old pipe system with a much more dynamic and scalable system to allow for truly emergent behavior. In fact, elements of this new system can already be seen in 3.18 in the salvage gameplay. Bounty hunting with a full tracking system and the ability to actively restrain and transport both players and AI. Persistent hangars with freight elevators allow you to call up your stored inventory or place things into storage. And towards the end of the year, we should see some of the more Squadron 42 related work arrive in Star Citizen, like more flexible player traversal, especially on ladders and ledges, greatly improved interaction system, FPS scanning, the new star map, MFDs using more performant and flexible building blocks UI system, and much more deeper combat AI. Now that Gen 12 render is functioning in 3.18, the graphics team will work on multi-threaded improvements and optimizations for the render, as well as hook up the Vulkan graphics API to it to unlock some of the performance gains that Gen 12 renderer can provide. There are numerous more things Star Citizen team are working on for the coming year, but this letter is already long enough. Final thoughts. Looking back at 2022, it's been gratifying to see Cloud Imperium and the Star Citizen community grow. We ended the year with 861 employees, and the community grew to more than 4 million accounts and 1.8 million backers. That's accounts that have purchased Star Citizen. We've achieved a lot this year, including our moves into two wonderful new homes for most of our staff. I fell short on a few others, like having 3.18 and PS fully live before the end of the year, but this is the nature of the game development that tries to boldly go where no game has gone before. What has especially been great is just how much more time people are spending playing Star Citizen this year. This had a lot to do with the increased player count and improved stability, but also Star Citizen, even in its alpha state, is already feature and content rich with a huge number of things to do with your friends or solo, and the list grows larger with every patch. The universe and how you interact with it is up to you, from exploring to hauling, trading, mining, salvage, refueling, refining, bounty hunting, piracy, to being a hired gun, to just sightseeing and being a social butterfly. And that is just what we have now. In the future, you'll be able to farm or gather other resources, build, craft, and sell. The universe of Star Citizen is going to be a huge sandbox for everyone to play in, and I couldn't be more excited by what the future holds. Star Citizen is more than just a game. It's an escape to another reality where anyone can pursue their imagination, not bound to a single playstyle or profession, where they can interact with other players that share in the same common dream. I feel incredibly lucky and privileged to have the opportunity to pursue this dream with an amazing, talented team at Cloud Imperium and the support and patience of the best community in gaming, the Star Citizen community. From all of us at Cloud Imperium, we wish you all a happy new year and can't wait to continue the journey with you in 2023. Signed off, Christopher Roberts, founder and CEO. What do you guys think of this letter from the chairman? I do appreciate Chris reaching out to everybody, giving us another recap or, talking to us about the end of the year. I'm very disappointed that they don't expect 4.0, well, not even 4.0, but probably 4.0, static server meshing anyways, and Pyro to be in until fourth quarter of next year. That's a huge disappointment for me. I know there's going to be a lot of people who be like, well, I called it, or blah, 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 or whatever. Whatever. I mean, it is what it is. I can still express disappointment. I'm sure many of you are as well. I'm sure many people will probably put the game down for a little while others are just going to keep plowing through the content. I know I plan on doing more Star Citizen videos, of course, all year long. But I am going to be doing some of those other videos as well. So please leave me some comments. Please leave a thumbs up. Like the video. Please subscribe if you haven't. I know there's about 60 to 70% of you haven't subscribed to the channel. I would definitely appreciate the subscription. And guys, leave a comment. if you want to comment on the letter of the chairman, future videos, whatever, please do. I read all the comments, and I really do appreciate it. And definitely check out my Patreon and YouTube members. As now more than ever, I could use the help since I'm now jobless. I'm Mud Dog with the Texas Space Navy, and I'll see you guys out in the verse.